Morning, and welcome to this week's class from the Mishnah Berurah. We are in the Shulchan Aruch, Orach Chaim, the laws of daily living. We are in Siman 90, Siman Tzadi. Okay, so we have been plowing our way through these laws. This is a very long Siman. There are 27 laws. Okay, known as Seifim, little snippets of halakha in here. So we will break this up into probably 3 shurim. But we will go ahead and begin our discussion of specifically the places where it is appropriate to pray and to pray with the community, and rules about one who is traveling. So we're going to try to break those up into a few sections. So we want to have, again, a place that's appropriate to pray, and that's where we're going to start off over here. So where is it appropriate to pray? Well, where would it make the most sense? We're going to talk about things that will distract you from prayer, as opposed to previously when we were in the 70s and the Ayans, we were talking about places where you can't say Shema and you can't pray because of where it's unfit to pray because of the place itself is gross, right? It's unfit to pray. You can't be in a place that's not a holy place. Now we're talking about actual places that aren't good to stand on or to stand amongst. So let's get rolling over here. So the first halacha here in Tzadi is someone who prays should not stand upon a cushion or a mattress. So they're two different things. It could be a bed or something squishy. You shouldn't stand on a chair, and you shouldn't stand on a sofa, okay, or a bench. And these things, basically, we're talking about not standing on things that are not the floor. And the Ramah adds, even if they're not 3 tefachim off the ground, so they can just be tiny things to stand on. You also shouldn't stand on top of a high place unless he is old or sick, okay, or he is praying so that the rest of the congregation can hear him. Okay, so if he's leading the congregation, you can stand on a higher place. Okay, now let's talk about some of these rules over here, because we're talking about, what are we talking about over here? Because you're going to be distracted. So the Mishnah Berurah explains, because when you stand on these things, you're distracted, and you're concerned that you might fall, and then you can't focus on your prayer. And therefore, when they say at the end that a person who is old or unwell, even though they are not doing it to be haughty, nonetheless, we would think that it would be prohibited to stand on something because of the fear of falling. So what we're saying is that in a case where someone is ill or old, it's hard to stand unless it's softer or something like this. The rabbis didn't make that person get off of their chair or off of their cushion, and allowed them to pray like that, whatever's preferable for them, either with sitting or standing or some other way. They could be leaning, some other way where they're not going to be concerned, that they're using it to help support themselves. So the Ramah adds a little caveat that it's even if it's not 3 tefachim high. However, the Bach and the Taz permit if it's not 3 high, but the Eli Rabbah disagree. So you have what to rely on if you want to stand on. If you're standing on a stair, I remember there was a place one time I went to. They used to have a stair minyan. People would stand and daven on the stairs. So it sounds like a silly thing, but this would allow them to go ahead and stand on stairs. Someone said to me, "How can they stand on stairs? I wonder whether they're going to fall." I said, "No, it's a machlokes." You also can't stand on a high place. Okay, so you can't stand on some type of the word I'm thinking of is a bima. You can't stand on an auditorium stage, a stage what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, and you can't stand on these things. Okay, and the reason why is because it says, the Mishnah Berurah says, "Mima makim karasicha Hashem." I call out from a low place. We'll get back to that later on, which that actually determines how we actually design the place where the shaliach tzibor or the chazan stands when they pray. I call it to you from low places. Okay, so and an older person, if it was difficult for them to get off of these things, they can lean up against them and sit on them. However, the exception is made for someone who's leading the tzibor, because they can stand on a high place, even on top of a chair or top of a bench or a couch, whatever it is, and they're not making themselves haughty. So, but some people still say that if they're concerned where they're going to fall, even there's no permission for them to stand there, even to make themselves more audible to the congregation. The custom nowadays, the Mishnah explains, is that the place where the shaliach tzibor davens from has to be lower than the rest of the shul, because of this verse, "Mima amakim kachasich Hashem," I called you from the low places, and therefore the shaliach tzibor is called someone who is yored lifnei ateva, someone who goes down before the lectern. So you have to go down. So some shuls actually build a little indentation in the floor. In other places, they just have the aron higher and the bima higher, where you do the actual Torah reading, and the whole congregation is lower down. So those are a few different ways in which that presents itself. Okay, number two over here, the place of height, the height of the place that you should stand, because it's considered a high place to daven from, has to be 3 tefachim, about 9+ inches from the ground. Okay. However, if it's 3 high and it has length and width of 4 amos, so that's 4 arms breadths, 4 arms lengths, and 4 arms breadths, also on all sides. So it's 9 inches high, and then we're talking about 4 to 6 feet on either side. So this is considered like an actual elevated spot, that's a whole platform, and someone can stand on that to pray on that. Okay, and so too, if it's also surrounded by walls, even though it's not 4 by 4, you can also pray there, because the height of it is not so obvious, because it has its separate place. So if you have places in shul that are higher and lower, that would be okay. The Mishnah explains a high place is to say that even if it's just higher ground, okay, and the differentiation between one spot and another spot, if we were to follow the rise of it, it has a difference of 3 tefachim, you can't stand on that spot to pray. But less than that is fine. So if it's on like a little incline and it kind of peaks at 3, you can sit on the edge of it, but not at the bottom of it, but not at the top. Okay. We also say that if it's surrounded by a wall, okay, or a fencing would also work as well. So when you build a new bima, build a new high spot. The bima means a high spot. Okay, it's been used we use the word bima, and in the Torah they were called a bama, a high place. The idea is that it was a place of offering. On the bama, they used to offer sacrifices. On the bima, this is where we offer our prayers in place of sacrifices. Okay, so if you haven't yet surrounded your shul with walls itself, so then you can't then rely on this permission of surrounding your davening spot, a high spot off the ground, with its own walls. Okay. However, someone who is servicing the rest of the congregation, okay, they can stand there in order to make sure they meet all the needs of the rest of the shul. You guys go daven over there. You guys go over there. Okay, and that would be fine. We're going to see this again in a second over here in the third halacha. Okay, what do we learn over here in the third halacha? So we learn that people who are craftsmen and they are doing their work for a homeowner, they could go ahead and pray at the top of a tree. That's a high spot. Okay, so that's what we were saying is in distinction to what we just learned in the previous halacha. They can be hanging up in the tree and they're shaking the tree to get the olives off of it. And they can also do it from the top of a fig tree, shaking the tree to get the figs out of it. And that is not a problem of don't stand on a high place. Okay? And pray. Since they went there for the intention of doing their work, that is considered going into just a regular high place. Well, that was 3 tefachim high and 4 by 4 amos. All other trees you have to get out of. Why are other trees different? Is because it's the It's the way in which a olive tree is designed, because they have so many branches, more so than other. It's very, very difficult to get up them and then to get down them, and it's a waste of time. And so therefore, the rabbis said that it's preferable to pray while standing in the tree. But other trees, not so many branches, not such a big deal to get down. You should get down. Okay, and the homeowner himself, when he's up in an olive tree and he's up in a fig tree, he's got to get down, right? Because his time is not owned for the work. Okay, he's doing it on his own volition. And if we're being lenient by workers, it's only because of them losing out on the time for work. We're not gonna make them pray on the owner's dime, but the owner himself, make some time to pray. Okay, there's no Mishnah Berurah on that. Let's go to halacha 4. One of the things that you need to have in the place that you daven is you should have openings or windows facing Jerusalem, in order that you should daven opposite those windows. And it is appropriate to have 12 windows. Okay, so if you go to shul, go ahead and count your windows. Drive your rabbi crazy over there about this halacha. Here's some interesting stuff over here. So the Mishnah Berurah comments on the windows thing. It says, even in a shul where you're davening with the congregation, it is still appropriate to make sure that you're standing opposite the windows. And it's even more so important when you're davening in your house by yourself, right? You want to say Shemona Esrei, right? And everything else part of it, that you should try to find the window facing Jerusalem. Okay, because the Gemara itself says that a person should only daven in a place where they have windows, and those windows facing Jerusalem, right? Yerushalayim. Even though you're not looking out the window, your eyes should be tilted down, which we're going to learn later on in Sadi Hay in 95. Okay, nonetheless, having the windows there is to basically help to focus your kavanah. Because when you do lift your eyes, okay, you can look straight up, and it'll help to awaken some of your intent for prayer. So we said you need 12. And why do you need 12? Okay, because of because we want to have the same structure as the Holy Temple. He doesn't actually, the Mishnah Berurah himself doesn't say that. He says you can put 12 windows wherever you want. Okay? As long as it's the same pride where you're having it opposite Jerusalem. Let me go off on a little tangent on this here for a second. Let me see if I can just make a little tangent over here. So I wanted to talk about the 12 windows. Let's see if I can pull up another source here real quick. Okay, so about the 12 windows, I'm just having some connectivity issues over here, looking stuff up. So you should have 12, okay? Okay, so the 12 windows, this is from the Kaf HaChaim. They don't have to all face Jerusalem. You just have to have them 12, like Mishnah Berurah answers. And there should actually be openings and windows on every single side of the base Knesset of the shul. Okay, and they are opposite the 12. So some people actually argue that they're opposite the 12 statements of eternity of Hashem. Okay, and you should have 3 on each wall, so that way you have 12 altogether. Now there was actually a shul in Vienna, okay, which is Vienna, and they had 12 windows there. There was 3 on every single wall. So some people disagree. Okay. So that's just an interesting thing I wanted to quote for all of you. Okay. Moving right along over here to the next halacha. So when we say you should find a proper place to daven, here's another important law. One should not daven in a wide open space, just like in the middle of a field. Okay? Rather, you should find yourself a private place, because that's when you feel more of the presence of the king, and you feel more contrite as a result of being in that place. Okay, so I've actually told people that sometimes it's better to sit in your car and daven than it is to get outside your car and stand up because of this halacha over here. So the Mishnah Berurah brings down that the Gemara says that because it's actually abizrayo avodah zara. It looks like one is doing foreign worship. And the Mishnah also brings the Pri Megadim. He says if you can find a place that's a quiet place, it has no windows, or you have a valley, it's better to daven in a house that has no windows, okay, than being outside. So that's where from over here I would say it's better to daven in your car sitting down, okay. So the Mishnah continues to explain the following over here. The other thing that is important to know about is that it's not only an avodah issue, it's also because people who are driving by may interrupt you. Okay? So that's another important thing. Okay? It's not to be that. So however, the author of the Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo himself says he doesn't really quote that as an option. So he said that there's a statement in the Zohar that says the following. So it's important to only daven in a closed structure. So people who are traveling, they can go ahead and daven in the middle of the field. Nonetheless, when they have a covering of some kind like the trees, it's better to daven over there. Okay? And in some place quiet if it's not too difficult to get to it from there. Okay? And so when you're in a little house, you can't. When there is a house available or some type of structure, you should daven there. Okay. It should also have walls. However, as long as it's covered. So let's say, for example, you were at a big field and they have covered pavilions. Better daven in a pavilion than daven outside uncovered. Okay. So those type of rules. All right. Was another place you shouldn't daven? You should not daven in a ruin. Why? Because of suspicion. What's the suspicion? We'll get that in a second. And also because of the fact that when you're in a ruin, things may fall on you. And also because of evil spirits and demons. Okay, so all the things that go wrong over here. So the Mishnah explains. So he says, in ruins, one problem is that it's better to daven on the road than it is to go into a ruin. Okay, and that's even if you have not even any other not even one of these reasons there. Okay. And if you are concerned that other passersby are going to interrupt you, then you should actually say a shorter form of Shemona Esrei, which we'll learn about in Siman 110. Because the most important thing is that you actually not go in, that the concern is going into the ruins. So what's the suspicion? They're going to be suspicious of you that you are committing some form of sexual treachery. Okay, like you're having some tryst over there in the ruins. All right, and if it's a ruin that's in a field, that's not a problem because there's no way someone would meet up with some type of prostitute in that type of place, and especially not in the middle of a field like that. It would be something a little bit off the beaten path, and it's also not a problem when you're traveling with your wife. Okay. If it's a very strong ruin, okay, and you're not worried about it falling down, you also can't worry. You're also not worried about it collapsing, okay. And if two people go in there at the same time, you don't have to worry about dangerous spirits because they only like to take out one person, but they don't want to take out two. All right, evil spirits are a bunch of chickens, literally and figuratively. They won't fight two people, okay. And three, it's definitely not a problem, okay? Also, carrying a torch counts as being two, and having the moon there is also a three. So therefore, if there's two people, they could go in there as long as it's a strong place and it's standing out in the middle of a field. Okay, so those are some of the leniencies on this halakha. Okay, let's do this last one, and then we'll pick up from here next time. Okay, this one's a little bit long. You also can't daven at the back of the shul. Okay, at the very on the outside of it. Okay, and that's assuming that you are also not turning your face towards the shul. Okay, and the back of the shul is the side that has an open door to it. Okay, and you are turning your face away from where the congregation is davening. Okay. Okay. So again, so this is your opposite that. That's what the concern was. You don't do that. Now, some people explain the opposite. Okay, so therefore, way that we're going to follow is we should follow both opinions. And when you are praying on the exterior of the shul, you should try to face the same direction as the shul is facing and the congregation is facing. And this is only assuming that people are aware that you are turning your back to the shul. But if you are davening in another building adjacent to the shul, and you're turning yourself towards Eretz Yisrael the proper way, and the shul doesn't, and your back faces the back of the house wall, which is also the house wall is also the wall for the shul as well, then that's also permitted because people don't realize that you're trying to turn your back on the shul. All right, so the idea is don't basically, too long, didn't want to read the whole thing. Don't turn your back on the shul. Okay, so the Mishnah Berurah brings down a responsa over here. He said, where he explains that when we talk about not having davening to the back of the shul, is only where the tzibur, the community, is saying Shemona Esrei right now, and you're also saying Shemona Esrei. So you can face whatever direction you want to, he says. However, he brings another opinion that disagrees with that. So, so the community is that when they are praying, the community is praying in a certain direction, and the door is open, okay, which means that you're going to be opposite of them, which means that the western side door is going to be open. Therefore, if you are turning your face away from the shul, okay, and then you're going to try to you should turn your face to face the direction in which the community is also facing. And therefore, you would not consider it a wicked person. But if you are turning away from the shul, okay, and you have your face away from where the congregation is aiming their prayer, which is the east, and you are facing west, that is a person who is wicked, because it looks like you're davening to another force in the world. And according to this explanation, if you're standing at the back of the shul on the east side, and you're facing the other side of the shul, and you are actually facing east, the same way that the tzibur is davening, then that's not a problem. Okay, we're saying the only problem is being backwards, right? That's what the Mishnah works with what it means backwards, and we said there's two opinions. So this is the opinion. The other opinion says the other way. The opinion of Rabbeinu Yitzchak in Tosfos, where he explains that the back of the shul is the very back of the eastern wall of the shul, and the eastern wall doesn't have any openings to it. And when you're standing at that spot, it's a completely sealed wall. Okay, again, and this is assuming you don't have the openings on every single side. He built the shul differently. And when you say opposite that wall, the way you're facing is you're facing the wall. You're still nonetheless facing in an eastward direction, and you're also facing the direction in which the community is also facing, but your back is to it. Okay. Nonetheless, that's inappropriate, and you're considered wicked to do such a thing, because you have your back to where the actual holy place of Hashem is located. However, if you turn yourself to face the shul itself, even though that you find that you are turning west and the whole community is facing east, that's not a problem, because then everyone's aiming themselves towards the eastern wall of the shul, and that is the holy place at the center of the shul, and you also are turning your face in that direction. That's okay. So don't put your back to where the Aron is, where the Aron HaKodesh is, where the Sifrei Torah are. But this is for a different reason, because you want to make sure that you are aiming for the Heichal. So that's different than what the other opinion was saying, the previous one, because they were saying, no, if as long as you're facing east, it should be okay. He's saying that shouldn't count in a situation where you're on the outside of the shul, and your back is to where the holiest part of the shul is, where the Aron and the Sifrei Torah are, which was the Heichal there, the holy place there. Okay? So when we say that you should not make it evident that you are trying to turn your face away. One second right here. We say that we follow both opinions. So you shouldn't pray west, and you should have yourself backwards to the shul. And even though this is and I'm sorry, you should only pray westward with yourself facing the shul. So you're on that because he's talking about where you're on the outside. The Mishnah wasn't talking about that. You're standing outside the shul, and you should turn your face westward, turning your face towards the shul, and then everybody agrees. Nonetheless, this is only permitted in a case of great need. It's better to daven in the shul, and we're going to see why later in halacha number 9. Okay, so if you're standing on the other side of the shul, so on the north side or on the south side, and you can't really turn completely eastward, and the reason why is because he says, because maybe there's excrement in that spot and you can't see it, and you have to have your back to it. Okay, otherwise the important thing would be to face east at all times. Nonetheless, this is only as a result of not being able to do it otherwise. Otherwise, face east. We also say that the important thing is to face yourself to the same direction as the shul is pointing, which is to face east. Okay, so in order that you shouldn't have your back against the direction of the shul wall. So even if you are not davening the opposite of the direction that the community is davening, nonetheless, that's not appropriate. But as long as you're not facing away from the tzibur, then that will be okay. Okay, and this is when you're standing on the north side of the shul or on the south side. However, if you're on an east or west side, nope, that doesn't work. You can only turn north or south. So basically the rule is based on these things is never have your back to the east and your face west when you're inside the building. When you're outside the building, face west, so that way you're looking at the eastern wall. Okay, and so we say these rules apply inside the shul, and the Mishnah explains it also refers to any outside courtyards that are attached to it. Okay, and especially if they're attached to the eastern wall, you can daven there as well, because it's considered if it's enclosed, it's considered a room. Okay, and it doesn't look like you're davening with the back to the shul. Okay, so that's places where sometimes you have so many people davening, and get everybody in there. You put the aron in the middle, and some people are facing east, some people are facing west, some people are turning this way, some people are turning that way. Some people have their backs to the east. Okay, so it's still better that it's better that to have all the different parts of it facing in one direction, which would be east, because some people don't like this approach either, even though it seems to be kind of legit. Okay, next week we will pick up with halacha 8, and we'll learn more about places in which one can pray in the shul. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's get 8 done quickly over here. We'll finish that. Now we'll pick up because 9's a new halacha. So it says over here, one should not pass on the outside of the shul, on the side of which the entrance is open during the time when the kehillah is davening, because then it looks like one doesn't believe in what they believe in, and he's therefore not entering to daven there. However, if you are carrying a burden, right, or if you're wearing a tefillin, or if there's another shul that you're going to, or you're going through another entrance in the shul, okay, or if you're riding on an animal, then this is permitted. Okay, and so this is again so we're saying that this is the idea that as long as it's not looking like you don't want to enter to not be part of the community, then that's okay. Mishnah adds a few things. Some people say that if it's time for Shema, then you should be strict. But we'll pick up with 9 next week. So this is where we finish that whole section, and we're going to talk about davening with the tzibur. So we look forward to continuing our halacha discussion next week, next time. Take care.